Bring to us your poetry from inspiration of thought. Come join us with your images, your verses, words, and thought. From here, we'll share your balladry with those who do not know it. This platform's here for you to show the world that you're the poet.
Welcome to episode 69 of You're the Poet, the poetry podcast featuring you. I'm host Matt Burgio, and I'm here with co-host Phil Burgio. Phil, welcome.
Anytime.
Here at You're the Poet, our purpose is to share our love of poetry with the world and invite you to do the same. We want to start by saying thank you to all of our listeners who have made You're the Poet possible. We hope you enjoy the podcast and the poetry that is shared. If you've written any poetry and you want to share it here, whether you just have an interest in poetry, consider yourself an amateur poet, or are a professional poet with published works, contact us to be a guest on a future episode. Our featured guest for this episode of You're the Poet is Adda Shur, who is joining us from Cincinnati, Ohio. Adda, welcome to You're the Poet.
Thank you so much, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be with both you, Matthew, and Phil. I'm very, very excited to share some of my poetry.
Yeah, we're happy you could join us, and we look forward to your contribution to the episode. To start things off, I'm going to turn it over to Phil to share the classic poem for the episode.
Okay, this poem was by Alfred Lord Tennyson, English poet. He was born August 6, 1809, and passed away October 6, 1892. He was a poet laureate of the United Kingdom during much of Queen Victoria's reign. He was in the House of Lords. I'm not going to go into too much detail. An interesting gentleman. There's a lot of information online about him. This poem is called The Eagle. He clasps the crag with crooked hands. Close to the sun in lonely lands, ringed with the azure world he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from the mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. Alfred Lord Tennyson.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I've always had a love for Tennyson, and I've actually wanted to read some more of his works. And I remember some conversations I've had with people about how there's that quote, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, that a lot of people confuse with Shakespeare, and I love people that know that that's actually Tennyson from his memoirs.
See, I just learned something.
Yeah, nice poem. Nice and short, but it really captures the eagle there, I feel. And I love that last line about how, like a thunderbolt, he falls.
Eagles are kind of special to me.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen an eagle that has dove into the water to catch its prey, it really does come down like a thunderbolt.
On the eagle, I just love the brevity of it and the built-in meter and the rhyme, and Tennyson is always just so flowing and so sculpted. Today, people have lost that art of the meter and the structure and the building of a poetry.
Right.
Yeah, Phil and I have talked about that sometimes, that there's so much free verse out there now. And not that there's anything wrong with free verse, but I feel like we've lost a lot of the classic forms.
Yeah, I don't write. I don't know how. I do know a few very, very talented young people that have it from another life. They just know how to do it.
Right.
But it's very rare these days.
Agreed.
You might find more structure in songs because songs require rhyming quite often. So, of course, you'll find that in the Beatles songs. You'll find that in all the songs that are great hits until 1990.
We've talked about that. One of my favorite poets is Paul Simon.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he just writes some fantastic lyrics. It's poetry. And they just put it to music.
Well, of course, the greatest one that we had was Bob Dylan.
Oh, just going to say Dylan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And going back to what you said about music and finding that structure in the lyrics, I do think that lyrics and songs sort of do lend themselves to structure, not just rhyming, but also if you're trying to get your verses to be the same, well, you've got to have some structure and some flow so that it fits into the same melody.
Yes.
You're sort of forced to get some of that structure.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. You're an opera singer.
I was an opera singer, but they say once an opera singer, always an opera singer, which I would agree with.
Yeah, that's right. That's like an Eagle Scout. Once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout.
Yeah. And I still sing. I still do perform locally here and there.
In your opinion, what operas are the most poetic?
What operas are the most poetic? Well, the ultimate most poetic opera that's known would be Debussy's Pélias et Mélisande.
Yeah.
It's a lengthy libretto that he set It's an anti-opera in the sense this is very, very long soliloquies and monologues and rambling music. And some people, to them, it's the greatest opera. It's so artsy-fartsy. I'm not a great fan of it, but very, very poetic and esoteric libretto. But I mean, personally, you have the librettos that Verdi set his operas to. All the librettists of the opera time were also poets.
Right.
So just get me any good, wonderful, one of the, Italian operas. Bellini has very interesting libretto. Then we have Berlioz. Berlioz wrote some of his own. And then you have Mephistopheles with Boito. Very fantastic.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I figured I'd talk to a professional about the insight on that one.
Yeah, I could go on and on. I mean, this is a very good subject to talk about. And opera people really, really into opera. We don't look at it as music only. It is a musical theater of the highest kind. So
I wrote a poem about the opera. I'll have to send it to you.
Oh, please do.
All right, well, from here, I'm going to share a poem for the episode. I decided today just to share a short haiku. Well, a haiku. Haiku, by their very nature, are short. As we're starting to get into spring and we're getting a little bit warmer weather here, I know here out at Zor Acres, the tree peepers are out and singing their songs for the spring as it's getting warmer. And so this haiku just reflects that. It's called Spring Peepers. The peepers rejoice with Mother Nature's snapping, ending winter's cold. Matthew Burgio.
So, that would make a very nice song.
There you go.
I could make one up for you right now, but you probably want to edit it out. Shall I make you a song up on this?
Yeah, but I can't guarantee I'll edit it out.
Well, I'll just make one up right on the spot. I hear kind of a Handelian thing with a little twist, maybe. The peepers rejoice, the peepers rejoice with Mother Nature snapping, 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 snapping. The peepers rejoice, Mother Nature snapping, snapping, ending winter's cold.
Yeah, that's definitely not getting edited out, sorry. That was wonderful, thank you.
When three poets get together, you never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I can see why you're friends with Mary Ann. That was wonderful, thank you.
My pleasure. I wasn't planning to do that, it just happened.
Hey, when that inspiration strikes, right?
Yes.
I actually intended to write a longer poem about the tree peepers. I was going to call it the Peepers' Lament. Because, they're coming out with this warmer weather, but then in our weekend forecast, it's supposed to get really cold again.
Oh, no.
So I had this vision that the peepers lament. They're lamenting the cold weather's return.
So write that one and write two more so it's a trio.
There you go.
A lament, and then, of course, the third one is happiness.
There you go. Maybe I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. From here, I'll turn it back over to Phil for his poem for the episode.
Okay. This is another poem about eagles. It's an acrostic. If you're familiar with acrostics, we've done acrostics before on this podcast. The beginning letter of each line spells out the title of the poem. So this is the eagle. Triumphantly he sits, head held high, eyes that pierce, eyes that shine, avian master of his realm, godlike bearing when he flies, lord of the azure skies, epic symbol of truth and honor. Philip Burgio.
All right. Thank you.
I like doing acrostics because it's kind of like a puzzle. You got to think how you're going to do it, different words. It's not like a free-flowing verse. It's got some structure to it, and I like that. I like writing poetry that's like a puzzle.
It's a special skill.
Yeah, well done here in capturing the eagle. All right, well, from here, we're going to turn to our guest portion of the episode. Adda, you're the poet. Show us what you've got.
Okay, so I have several poems from different times in my life. Different styles. This one was written in 2007, and it's called Free of Fear. The wind in eucalyptus trees blows upon the leaves of my ascending heart, holding otherworldly jewels. I depart high up into the darkened skies. The storm approaches, the trees shake. The butterfly awakes and flies away into the deep night sky. Nothing that we've held so dear can remain to hold us back. Our constant petty thoughts and mostly fear all must disappear. Yet the question keeps arising. Can you join us now? Will you rise up into joy? I remain alert and calm, holding jewels round and clear from another star. Look, I'm flying, it can be done. Laughter rises up through my toes to my hair flying free. I shout with glee to those below, come join me, we'll have so much fun. The wind and leaves rustle so and carry me away to stars above and below. The butterfly awakes and flies off into the deep night sky. Free of fear, I remain awake and calm, holding jewels round and clear from another star. By Adda Shur.
All right, thank you for sharing.
I love your delivery. Excellent delivery.
Thank you.
Very nice poem. I love the repetition that you get in there, whether it's, the butterfly awakes and flies into the deep of night sky, and then also the concept of holding the jewels and remaining calm. What caught me at the very beginning was when you were talking about the wind blowing in the eucalyptus trees, and then it blows upon the leaves. But then I like that change right there, that it's not the leaves of the tree, but the leaves of my ascending heart. And I thought that was a neat twist in the line.
Thank you. Thank you. It was the first time this poem has ever been heard.
Well, we're honored about that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. I had hoped to bring out a book of some of these poems. I have many, but I haven't done so yet. It's called Perfectionism. But this is a breakthrough for me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Got another one for us.
Yes. It's called 2 Songs for Illumination, March 2005. Number 1. For woman is life. Great deeds begin anew. For woman is life. Her powers overflow, her dominion never exhausted. Bow down to her, O forgetful ones. Honor her resilient power, for woman is life. Number 2. I stand alone. I stand alone at the edges of your mind, breaking open doors. I welcome dancing hippos, delicate scarves atop their upright, heavy forms. They twirl and pirouette most charmingly. I stand alone, walking to the ocean to view waves towering high above us all. Time to wake up, time to stand tall. I stand alone at the edges of your mind, breaking doors open. You can catch me when you first wake up, or beneath a rock. I stand alone, breaking doors open. By Adda Shur.
All right, thank you.
I like that. The dancing hippos, Fantasia from Disney, popped into my head.
Yeah, bringing back some kind of well-known imagery.
Yeah.
Fantasy and all that the mind contains. Because it says, at the edges of your mind, right?
Right.
I hope through my intonation one could tell that when I say I stand alone, it's not speaking about the small egoistic I. It's a greater I that is communicating with the lower self, so to speak.
I got that feeling. Yeah, thank you.
Good.
And again, I love that repetition of the I stand alone, but also the whole concept of, like, well, you already mentioned, like the edges of the mind, bringing back some of these memories and these images. I also like the strong hail to woman there in the first part of that. It's kind of fitting, too, because March is Women's History Month, so...
Well, of course, here we're talking about the primordial woman, the archetypal woman, the essence of woman that every woman hopefully is able to connect to. And in these times, that's becoming increasingly difficult.
I agree. I just read a poem. I apologize to the poet out there, but I cannot remember the country, but they were comparing the country to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very elegant poem there that one of the poets on our Year of the Poet community page posted. I thought it was a very powerful poem in its imagery, but comparing the country to a woman, if the country was a woman.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Going through and describing all the strengths and things. I thought it was a wonderful poem, but this reminded me of that.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and before we get on to some more poetry, tell us a little bit about your poetic journey and how you got started with poetry and whatnot.
Well, I started writing poetry when I was 12 years old. I wrote a very beautiful poem, which sadly I had written on a spiral thing like this, so you were to read it like this. I had it for many years, but it came to me. It just kind of came to me, and I found myself writing it down, and I was very excited because I went to a private school, and in the private school, all the children there seemed to be much more eloquent and more gifted in reading and writing. I was a very gifted reader, but I didn't feel my writing was so good. So that showed me something really cool, that you could get a whole poem coming down into your mind and you could write it out, and it was actually very, very neat. And it was something very dreamlike and unusual. It was also about walking and being alone. Anyway, so after that, I said something had changed in me, and I decided I liked writing as a hobby, keeping a journal since the age of 12. And in the journal, I would write down poems that would come to me, and sometimes I would type them up and have them more organized. And being such a prolific reader and reading so many great authors, I thought, well, I could edit some of these poetry, and I did, but I just thought I wasn't so great and I couldn't rhyme, so I just thought I was going to keep it as a hobby.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Poetry is a very personal thing sometimes, too.
Yeah. But in the last 10 years, I started looking through some of my big journals where I scribbled poetry. And I thought, some of these are really good if I just tweaked them just a little bit of work, So, and I started typing all of them up that were scribbled or like here or there or whatever. And then now I have like this whole, 70 pages of typed up poetry, some of which needs an editor.
Time for a book.
At this point, I figured, well, I'm not a young woman anymore. I have nothing to lose. I might as well throw it out there. So this is like a beginning for me to share and get some feedback.
Well, we're happy that you've decided to come share it. That's what we're all about, is getting people to share their work.
Yeah.
The nice thing about sharing it, too, is it's not just nice for the poets to get it out there, but a lot of times your poetry touches somebody in some way that we may not even think about. Someone might read or hear something, and it just touches them in a certain way that even the author might not have intended. I
agree. In my family, I have published poets and songwriters. So they had a lot of success, and I always felt a little second rate compared to them. Again, for me, at this point, I think there's some of my poems have something to say. So I'm just going to eventually put it out there. And if nothing else, the family can read it,
I don't think your poems are second rate at all.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Oh, that's the truth.
I second that.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we're coming to a very different kind of style. Also, I write in different styles, and I've written also a number of song lyrics that were coming out for a certain time. And it depends on the period of life when I was writing and how it came to me. So this is called Poem of Loss and Redemption. From the core of my belly, from the fragrance of my extravagant folly that chose to birth you into our tenuous family, sacred and startling, you emerged. Your divine spirited laughter, wild, extravagant blonde locks, the sparkle of rainbows in your eyes, the enchanting voice and graceful dancing, beyond a normal child's talents, your rhyming poetry, your spiritual attunement, and the occasional bewildering running away to play and strange shutdowns. These the gifts and greatness of thee, my lost Z, my lost princess, my dearest only one. All qualities of abundant spirit that now are locked in a vault with the key buried in my heart, waiting for that one day that will unfurl in glory unexpected when you return from captivity, forever changed, yet forever my child. By Adda Shur.
All right, thank you for sharing.
Interesting poem.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the background of this poem?
Not really.
Up to you.
It's about loss. It's about relationships between parent and child that sometimes goes through labyrinthal and unexpected transformations that can be very painful.
That was the basic gist that I got there.
And of course, the underlying love, the eternal love that's between a mother and a child, that they say no matter what that child has done, the mother's love can never be torn away. Much as God loves us, no matter how we feel we may have lost our way. He's always ready there to receive us again. And no matter how we've been transformed by whatever choices we made.
Yeah, I thank God I have good relationships with my sons, as you can see right here.
You're very blessed.
I am.
Yeah, sometimes relationships can be tricky. Well, a lot of times relationships can be tricky. And, we can just hope for the best, and hopefully there's some redemption there in the future.
Yes, we hope for that. For the final selection, if we're ready.
Yeah, give us another one.
Okay, so this is just kind of a haiku-like. It's interesting you chose to do haiku-like. These are very, very short, like 4 little sections. It's called Dream Fragments from Sleep Number 2. So I'm just going to kind of read them as they come, and they kind of create a whole little thing. Okay? We'll just do the 1, 2, 3. Dream Fragments from Sleep Number 2. Savage cacophony. Savage cacophony in a cone of fruit on a plate for breakfast. A cacophony of 100 birds, 100 thoughts pounding in my head. I am the morning, whom dignitaries protect. Number 2. A savagery of sound requires no explanation. 3. Despite these morning dreams, snippets of spiraling poetry, I feel in a sorry state of despair. Perhaps a cup of yogurt and a sip of coffee will repair. By Adda Shur.
Coffee repairs a lot of stuff.
Indeed. I used to not be a coffee drinker at all, and then probably more than a few years back, my brothers and I bought Phil a Keurig for Christmas. And because of the Keurig and it making coffee so easy and allowing you to try variety, I've gotten myself addicted to coffee now.
Keurig is a real game changer for a lot of people.
I have the kind where you use your own coffee.
Oh, yes.
I like that too, because I can drink what I want to drink and I don't have to buy their packaging.
Right, and it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Definitely found a few varieties that I really like now. But very nice little poems there. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I like the cacophony of sounds there, and even of the food there, the first little part of that.
Great. Yeah, I had forgotten these, and then I thought, well, that would make a nice little ending after the more heavier poetry.
Yeah, we often say we need some more lighthearted stuff. A lot of our poets get deep.
Sure.
That just lends itself to poetry sometimes as we deal with some of the deeper, darker things in our lives.
I have much variety, lighthearted, it's ironic, satiric, funny. I've chose the ones that I like.
Same here, the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Poems that make me cry and then poems that make me laugh.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, as we move on from the episode, before we finish up, is there anything you'd like to say about poetry or your poetic journey?
Well, I think when you do poetry, when you're sitting with yourself and it's a way of meditating. So if you just sit and breathe into your heart and just have an empty paper in front of you and hold your pen. And then just put the pen down and just start letting your hand bring out words. And you'd be surprised how things will come out, because our mind is so full of things all the time. You'd be surprised what's coming out. Some of it can be very interesting, like I was writing here, cacophony of sounds. And from that, the person who's a poet takes all that salad and starts playing with it. And as you do that, it's very satisfying. There's nobody telling you how to do it. I like to draw sometimes with it. It's a way of connecting with yourself in a very profound and spontaneous way. At the same time, you can structure it if you really want to be professional. You can sit down every day. Like great musicians, they would sit down every day and practice, write music no matter what. I've heard a lot of authors, they sit down, they write pages every day. But you don't have to be that rigorous if it's more of a therapy for you.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm always amazed at a lot of our guests. They'll talk about how they're writing poetry every day or multiple poems a day. And part of me is sometimes jealous of that I wish I had more time to just write some more poetry, because I feel like I have so much I want to say and I just don't have or take the time to always sit down and write it out.
But it does help to carve out a time, because then there's more structure, especially if you identify yourself more as a poet. I identify myself as a poet hobbyist.
Right. And me too. It's a side gig that I do, so to speak.
That's wonderful. Well, I so appreciate this opportunity. It's the first time I've ever shared my poetry other than with myself. So I really appreciate being able to do this. It's very liberating. Thank you so much to both you, Phil and Matthew, for inviting me.
Anytime. We'll have to have you back later on, too, for another session.
Thank you so much. I would love that.
Definitely. All right. Well, just a little bit of feedback for this episode. First, I want to make a comment from episode 68 with Tara Hicks. We were talking about the astronauts in space and the phenomena when they look at the Earth from space, and I could not think of the word for it. That is the overview effect. It's the profound cognitive shift experienced by astronauts viewing the Earth from space, characterized by an intense feeling of awe, vulnerability, and interconnectedness. So we had talked about that a little bit, and I wanted to make note about that. So the overview effect. Also, I've got a variety of feedback from Tara Hicks on Spotify from the different episodes, so I'm going to go through some of these. I meant to share some last episode, but since it was Tara's episode, I didn't want to have her feedback on her episode. So these are some comments she made about some of the various episodes. The first is from episode 62 with Christopher Maurice. She says, "Cheers for the shout out, Matt," as I was thanking her for helping us out with our community group. And then she says, "Christopher, you're on my radar now. I enjoy your passion." And then episode 63 with Mike Defendant, she says, "Ho, my fist is knuckled into my teeth. Skeleton slaps. The way you read it was so melodic, adding to the charm of the poem." And then episode 64 with Elias Kane, she says, "I heard your podcast, had to look you up. I gotta say, I'm a fan. Everything just flows so nicely, and it is filled with intention and meaning." And then episode 65 with Linda Davenport, she says, "Nutritional analysis had me closing my eyes and seeing the love and effort, savoring the taste. Your untitled poem has me thinking about the lady with the megawatt smile. You have a phenomenal way with words, Linda. I like the way you explain rhythm in conjunction with the words. As a fledgling poet, I struggle with that sometimes." And then finally, from episode 66 with Jody Harsh, she says, "Excellent Tonka, Phil. Too much unfriending going on. It sparked a great discussion. I really felt my mama's hug. My mom is still with us, but I've lived in a different country for over 20 years, and I miss her hugs. My kids need to hear Imagine. You are a sage poet, Jody." So Tara, thank you for all of your feedback on those various episodes, and also thank you for all of your help with our community page. And speaking of our community page,
we're over 1,000 members right now.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is pretty awesome. Phil gave me that information this morning that we finally breached 1,000 followers for our You're the Poet community page. So thank you for everyone that's participating in that, whether you're sharing your poetry and also commenting and encouraging the other poets there. So thank you for that. All right, well, as we wrap things up, we want to let our listeners know that we're grateful that you've taken the time to tune in. We hope you're enjoying the poetry shared here, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with others. If you would like to support You're the Poet and what we're doing here, there are a couple of ways to help. You can find links on our website to our Buy Me a Coffee patron site, as well as our You're the Poet store, where you can buy You're the Poet merchandise and share your love of poetry with the world. Thank you for your support as we continue to grow. Please check out our website and various social media outlets to keep up to date with You're the Poet. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website, you'rethepoet.com. Until next time, Phil, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Adda, thank you for being our guest.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was great getting to hear your work. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you to you both. Goodbye.